Beautiful combat sports fans, UFC Paris. What an unbelievable card. It's going down this weekend, this Saturday. For free. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. The Fighting Nerds Gym. You gotta give them all the credit in the world. They are by far currently in MMA the most dynamic and the most gym that is on fire, absolute fire right now. The main event and the co-main event, one half of the co-main and one half of the main come from the unbelievable and dynamic Fighting Nerds Gym. Let's talk about it, beautiful people. Let's talk about, I'm only going to be talking about the main and co-main, to be honest, because they are two absolute barn burner of fights. Let's get into it, beautiful people. Let's start with the co-main event first. The dynamic Brazilian, the 29-year-old Mauricio Ruffy, going up against none other than the Frenchman, the hometown kid, I'm gonna keep it combat sports, Benoit Saint-Denis, BSD. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I'm gonna go through both men's record. Listen, Mauricio Ruffy, the man exploded on the scene over the past year, but especially in his last fight versus Bobby Green. Listen, that was one of the best knockouts and one of the most dynamic knockouts and one of the most violent KOs that you will ever see. First round, spinning wheel kick that took Bobby Green's lights out, cleaned his clock, destroyed him, annihilated him, and possibly finished his career. Mauricio Ruffy is on fire right now, and he will be going up against BSD. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I believe that Benoit Saint-Denis is extremely overrated. And I think that the man is in deep trouble in his hometown, and the man, I believe, is about to get absolutely destroyed. But let's get into Benoit Saint-Denis' record for a second. The man is 14-3. I'm going to say something extremely important that I believe it will play a massive factor in this fight. Benoit Saint-Denis, if you actually look at the man's fighting style, the man is a grappler, no question about it. But the man's defense, I'm going to be honest, it is non-existent. Benoit Saint-Denis' defense is simply his offense. And if you actually think about it, let me tell you about this fight. The man lost 2 of his last 3 fights, but back in 2021, on October 30th, in UFC 267, he fought Eliezer Zaleski dos Santos, and I believe that was one of the worst referee jobs you will ever see in your life. I believe that Benoit Saint-Denis that night took not just career-altering damage, but most importantly, he took life-altering damage. Dos Santos absolutely murked him, destroyed him in every which way. Benoit Saint-Denis took so much punishment in that fight, and that fight should have been stopped countless of times before the end of the 3rd round, before the final bell of the 3rd round rang. But I believe since that night, BSD was never the same, because he fought Nicholas Stolze. He submitted him, and then he fought Gabriel Miranda, TKO'd him. Ismail Bonfim, let's be honest, the jury is still out on both Bonfim brothers. They are, some might say, very much overrated. And then he TKO'd Moises and Matt Frivola. That was an impressive performance. But if you actually think about it, none of those 5 opponents are elite and not even close. And when he stepped up versus Dustin Poirier, he took a lot of damage in that fight and he got knocked out. And when he fought Moicano in his hometown in France, September of last year, the man got absolutely destroyed. His facial structure got changed. And he is on a 1-fight win streak versus Kyle Proplek. And let me be honest, BSD looked absolutely terrible in that fight. The man was losing to an unknown far from elite fighter. And he escaped with a victory. But now this is a different story, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that Benoit Saint-Denis, his biggest weakness and his biggest issue in this fight will be closing and measuring the distance versus someone like Ruffy, who is a master. I mean, yes, the man got crazy power. Yes, the man is dynamic. Yes, the man is ferocious, violent, cerebral. But his biggest strength is the same strength that every single fighter who comes out of the Fighting Nerds gym got. They are masters when you talk about controlling and measuring the distance. And I believe this fight will go down like this, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that BSD will do the only thing that he knows how to do, which is pressure. He will pressure Ruffy, but he will find out very soon and very early on in that fight, this Saturday, that he lacks a massive part and a massive chunk when you talk about the full game and the complete game of a mixed martial artist. The defense is the most important weapon, and his defense is non-existent, and his striking is far from elite. Now, I'm not saying that Ruffy is an elite grappler. The jury is still out on him, but I believe he will win this fight, and he will win it in spectacular fashion, and BSD will lose for the second time in a row in his hometown. I got Ruffy by devastating, violent knockout. I mean, BSD, his style is made for him to get absolutely eviscerated by a dynamic striker. Let's get into the main event, ladies and gentlemen. Middleweight showdown between two elite middleweights. I mean, listen, Caio Borralho going into enemy territory to the hometown and home country of Nassourdine Imavov. What an unbelievable fight. Listen, Imavov is on absolute fire right now. The man eviscerated Israel Adesanya in his last fight. Took, some might say, finished the career of the greatest middleweight of all time. He finished him. I mean, even though he was getting pieced up in that first round, but it doesn't matter. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And Imavov finished Israel Adesanya in spectacular fashion with that overhand, darting right hand that took Adesanya off his feet and completely knocked him out. Now let's talk about it, beautiful people. Let's talk about it. Caio Borralho, I believe the biggest problem when it comes to Caio Borralho, the man doesn't really fight a lot. It's been almost a year since the man fought, and I believe this will play a massive factor in this fight. Imavov has been active, and all the momentum in the world is on his side. However, Caio Borralho, you gotta give him credit. The man's been hunting down Imavov. He's been asking for this fight for a long, long time. Now, let's get into Caio Borralho's last few wins. The man is 17-1, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions, and he lost only once by decision long time ago in his second pro fight. So you can say that the man is unbeaten in the last, how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's in 14 fight win streak. But then he had a no contest early on in his career and 2 wins. Now let's talk about it, beautiful people. His last win was against Jared Cannonier. Both men beat Jared Cannonier. But let me tell you this. Imavov barely took any punishment in that fight. Caio Borralho took a lot of punishment in that fight. And then the fight before that, he finished Paul Craig, by strikes. And let's be honest, Paul Craig is an unbelievable grappler. Offensive grappler. But his striking is everything but elite. And he lost to Caio Borralho, and Abus Magomedov also lost to Caio. Oleksiejczuk lost to Borralho and actually joined Caio Borralho's gym after that fight. Mahmoud Muradov, Armen Petrosian. I mean, listen. Even Caio Borralho, he appeared on Dana White's Contender Series. That was my first time seeing him. He looked good, but Dana didn't give him the contract. And what did the man do? He said, okay, Dana, you want a finish? You want finishes on Dana White Contender Series? Came back next time and knocked out his opponent and got the contract. And ever since then, The man has been on absolute fire. He will be fighting, like I said, Nassourdine Imavov. Listen, I have something very interesting to say about Imavov. Check this out, beautiful people. He knocked out the Sun in his last fight, beat Brandon Allen, beat Cannonier by knockout, beat Roman Dolidze in a dominant fashion, even though the fight was a majority decision, but that was far from a majority decision fight. I mean, he got absolutely destroyed, Dolidze did. Chris Curtis, no contest because of the clash, but, you know, Imavov was on his way to victory. But before that fight, he fought Sean Strickland on short notice, and Strickland broke him. How did he break him, ladies and gentlemen? He broke him with pressure. Imavov is such an unbelievable athlete. He's so dynamic and he's so explosive. But fighters with his style, their biggest issue is their stamina, their conditioning. And if you pressure Imavov enough, and if you stick it on him enough, you can get to him. But before that fight, he dominated and sunned and manhandled Joaquin Buckley, knocked out Edmund Shabazian in Madison Square Garden, beat Ian Heinisch by knockout. I mean, who beats Ian Heinisch by knockout? Let's be honest. Ian Heinisch got that Roblox head. Imavov beat him. But before that, he lost by majority decision to Phil Hawes. And his first fight in the UFC was 5 years ago versus Jordan Williams. Jordan Williams is a man with diabetes. He's very tough. He's so powerful. He got crazy knockout power. And he went to absolute war with Imavov. But Imavov came out on top in that night. Here, a few minutes away from here, in Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. But nonetheless, who do I think will win this unbelievable fight? I mean, listen, this is the definition of a 50-50 fight. If there was ever a 50-50 fight, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Middleweight showdown. Possibly, the winner will more than likely be the next contender for Khamzat Chimaev, depending on what happens with RDR and Fluffy Hernandez. Now, who do I think will win this fight? I actually keep going back and forth. Who do I want to win? I want Nassourdine Imavov to win. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest. I like the man. I like everything about him. He looks like a star in the making. But, listen, Caio Borralho, I'm going to be honest. The man looks unstoppable right now. I mean, his style isn't the most exciting style. He is the least exciting fighter in the Fighting Nerds gym. But the man might very well be the best out of all of them. My heart is telling me to pick Imavov, but my mind is telling me that Borralho will conquer him. But I'm going to go with my heart, beautiful people. I'm going to pick Nassourdine Imavov to beat Caio Borralho in a very competitive fight, in an excellent middleweight showdown for the #1 contender spot. And what an unbelievable card. I mean, I thought about making a full breakdown of the card, but if I'm going to do a full breakdown, it's going to take me an hour. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of unknown names on this card. So I said, why not just talk about the main and co-main? Because they are the two fights with the highest stakes. Let's see what happens. One thing is for certain, whoever wins the main and co-main, I guarantee you that both fights will be memorable. Let's see what happens. UFC Paris, bring it on. Imavov versus Borralho. Mauricio Ruffy going up against BSD. Bring it on.